Hi, this is Steve Munroe and welcome to my latest weekly show for DRagonFLIX. This week we'll be looking back at my top 10 TV shows of the year. There's a mixture of different programmes and different topics in this list, so let's have a look at what caught my attention in the past year. We'll count them down from 10 to 1 to add a hint of spice to the list. So let's start with the first entry, and in at number 10 is What If? A 10-episode programme made and distributed by Netflix. It's an American thriller web television miniseries created by Mike Kelly and stars Renée Zellweger, Jane Levy and Blake Jenner. In this neo-noir social thriller, Oscar winner Renée Zellweger stars Anne Montgomery, a woman of extreme wealth who makes young scientist Lisa a steamy proposal. Lisa is on the verge of a breakthrough that would save the lives of millions of kids, but she needs funding to go through with the trials and eventually bring her technique to the market. Other venture capitalists have turned Lisa down, but Anne makes her an unexpected offer, one that comes with a twist. And in order to give Lisa the money, Anne wants to spend a night alone with Lisa's husband Sean, a former professional athlete. If the couple agree to the terms, Lisa will get the funding, but can never ask her husband what happened during his time with Anne, who believes that human attachment is a weakness and Lisa will only succeed if she focuses all of her attention on her work. Well, if you've seen Indecent Proposal and like-minded TV shows, you'll get the gist and premise of the plot. Watchable and very stylized, dealing with human emotions and the lengths that we will go to when pushed to adversity is evident in each episode, culminating in a dramatic conclusion to end the show. Renée Zellweger gives a powerful performance, and her loss of weight and new slimline look is staggering, which adds to her dramatic performance and persona. All in all, I enjoyed this adaptation, but again, there's nothing original or groundbreaking in its premise or storyline, but still very watchable. In at number 9 is Our Planet. This is a British nature documentary series made for Netflix, and the series is narrated by David Attenborough. The series addresses issues of conservation while featuring these disparate animals in their respective home regions, and has been noted for its greater focus on humans' impact on the environment than traditional nature documentaries, centering around how climate change impacts all living creatures. It marked the first nature documentary Netflix has ever made. Again, irrespective of your opinions on climate change and human involvement, this series is a must-see, as with all David Attenborough shows of the past 50 years, including The Brilliant Blue Planet and Life on Earth. The content is just astonishing. Remarkable camera work and use of drones shows the diversity and beauty of life on the planet in all its glory. It should be compulsory viewing and on all school curriculums, in my opinion. Thumbs up to all the film crews and researchers who spend so much time and endurance in bringing us the remarkable footage and editing to make such amazing episodes. This is the natural world documentary filmmaking at its best, and the use of the modern technology brings us an astonishing screen experience and is thoroughly recommended. Okay, at number 8 is The Witcher. This is an American fantasy drama series produced by Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich. It is based on the book series of the same name by Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski. The first season, consisting of 8 episodes, was released on Netflix in its entirety during December 2019. A second season was announced for release in 2021. Set in the medieval fictional world on a landmass known as the Continent, The Witcher follows the story of solitary monster hunter Geralt of Rivia, played by Henry Cavill, sorceress Yennefer of Wengenberg, Anna Charlotte, and Sanitrian princess Ciri, played by Freya Allen, who find their destinies tied together. The first season is based on The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny, a collection of short stories which precede the main Witcher saga. The first season explores formative events that shape the three lead characters prior to their first encounters with each other. Enjoyed this show and binge watched all episodes back to back on Netflix over the weekend. It's lively and moves along at a good pace, with plenty of well organised and choreographed fight and action scenes. Word of warning though, there are a lot of graphic scenes of violence, gore and nudity and sexual scenes which some viewers may find offensive. The usual tongue-in-cheek humour with some of the dialogue, and is set in a very cinematic backdrop which is beautifully filmed. Henry Cavill growls his way through the series with the now typical husky leading man voice and yellow contact lens eyes as we witness all the stylized sword and sorcery sequences and time displacement and portal scenes, as well as customary curses and magic and elves, dwarves, dragon slayers and strange monsters. Destiny has spoken, we are informed. A haunting soundtrack and catchy theme song add to its popularity. So, if you like your Conan the Barbarian films or Lord of the Rings movies, then you'll enjoy this. And as a fantasy show, found it very watchable and look forward to viewing the second series when it's released next year. Right, next in at number 7, as a contrast, we have a bit of comedy with the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special, which produced the highest viewing TV figures in the UK over Christmas and the New Year period, and was also the largest TV comedy audience of the decade. For those of you not familiar with the show Gavin and Stacey, it's a British romantic situation comedy that follows the long-distance relationship of Gavin, played by Matthew Horne, from Billericay in Essex, England, and Stacey, played by Joanna Page, from Barry in the Vale of Glamorgan, Wales. The writers of the show, actors James Corden and Ruth Jones, also co-star as Gavin and Stacey's friends Smithy and Nessa. Other prominent cast members include Alison Steadman and Larry Lamb, who play Gavin's parents Pam and Mick, and Melanie Walters and Rob Brydon, who portrays Stacey's mother Gwen and her uncle Bryn. In this concluding Christmas special, it has been 10 years since we last went to Billericay to spend Christmas with the Shipmans and the Wests. This year, we're off to Wales for the festivities, where Bryn is cooking dinner for over 13 people. Understandably, he's tense. Pam would secretly prefer to spend Christmas in Essex, as she finds Gwen's house a bit lacking. But the deal has always been that they alternate every year, and this time it's the turn of the West to host Christmas with everyone under one small roof. For Gavin and Stacey, parenthood continues to present them with several challenges, their baby now being 10. Smithy too continues to commit to his fatherly role, making the journey to Barry at weekends and every second Wednesday to see 11-year-old Neil, the baby. Nessa, on the other hand, adopts her own brand of Nessa-style mothering, whilst Pam, Mick and Gwen have become the epitome of doting grandparents. On Christmas Eve, Dawn makes a shocking discovery about Pete that jeopardises their marriage, again, and a visit to the pub that night is an eye-opener in more ways than one. Well, strong script and very good performances from a stellar cast, looking at family life with all the emotions tied in with powerful ending, and it leaves us with the thoughts that this is not the end of this long-running saga. Thoroughly enjoyable, and could there be more Gavin and Stacey to come? We shall see. In at number 6 is the 5th series of Line of Duty, consisting of 6 episodes which was broadcast on the BBC last year. The show follows Anti-Corruption Unit 12 police officers Steve Arnott and Kate Fleming, with the help and oversight of Superintendent Ted Hastings, who investigate possible corruption within the Central Police Force. 'Cause 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 'c This series, like its predecessors, is well made with good scripts and strong performances from the cast, and gives us an interesting insight into police procedures and possible corruption at the highest levels of policing. It has been commented on from many sources, with people wondering, are these based on real or fictitious cases? Either way, it makes for a compelling and excellent drama series, and I for one await Series 6 to see what is next in store for us as the viewer. On to the top 5, and next up is The Messiah. This is an American thriller web television series created by Michael Petroni. The first season consists of 10 episodes, which were released on Netflix on January the 1st, 2020. The series stars Mahady Davey, Thomas Sisley and Michelle Monaghan. The basic premise of the show is a CIA officer investigates a charismatic figure whose followers believe he can perform miracles. He may be a divine entity or a dangerous con artist. So, the series focuses on the modern world's reaction to a man who first appears in the Middle East, claiming to be the return of Jesus. His sudden appearance and apparent miracles spark a growing international following, casting doubts around who he really is. So, a case is investigated by a CIA officer. Again, I decided to watch this with a 10-episode binge over the 2 to 3 days on Netflix. The obvious comparisons have already been made that it's Homeland with a religious twist, and the leading ladies of both shows have similar and comparative lives and problems with their emotions and mental well-being. But at the same time, you draw your own conclusions, depending on your religious or political persuasion, and the narrative has familiar stories based on the Bible and other religious connotations. Or you could just enjoy it as an exciting political religious thriller. I liked Mahady Davey in the title role. Very powerful and charismatic performance, and contrasted well with the other central characters in the show, who are also very good and compelling, giving very strong performances. There was great cinematography and varied dramatic locations, so it made for a good television cinematic experience. And with a cliffhanger ending, we are left wondering, will there be a second series, or is it provoking enough to assume that it's left to your imagination as to the outcome? We shall see. Thoroughly recommended, good drama. In at 4, we have Killing Eve, Season 2. This is a British spy thriller television series produced in the United Kingdom by Sid Gentle Films for BBC America. The series follows Eve Pilastri, played by Sandra Oh, a British intelligence investigator tasked with capturing psychopathic assassin Villanelle, played by Jodie Comer. As the chase progresses, the two develop a mutual obsession. Eve's life as a spy is not adding up to what she had hoped it would be when she started. She is a bored but very smart MI5 security officer who is very desk-bound. Villanelle is a very talented killer, mercurial in mood who clings to the luxuries of her job. Eve and Villanelle go head-to-head in a fierce game of cat and mouse, each woman equally obsessed with the other, as Eve is tasked with hunting down the psychopathic assassin. The first season was an excellent spy thriller, with captivating performances from our two leading ladies, and continued powerfully into Series 2 for most of the episodes, although I did feel the ending was predictable and could see it coming a mile off. But the strength is in the acting performances of Sandra Oh and Jodie Comer, as we watch their relationship develop. Both have won multiple awards for their performances, and rightly so, as they hold your attention on the screen. Talk of another 2 seasons is in the offering, and I shall be fascinated to see how the writers are going to develop this. Otherwise, another excellent BBC drama. At number 3 is Mindhunter. This is an American crime thriller television series created by Joe Penhall, based on the true crime book Mindhunter, inside the FBI's elite serial crime unit, written by Johnny Douglas and Mark Olshaker. Mindhunter revolves around FBI agents Holden Ford, played by Jonathan Groff, and Bill Tench, played by Holt McCallany, along with psychologist Wendy Carr, played by Anna Torv, who operate the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit within the training division at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. They interview imprisoned serial killers to understand how they think, with the hope of applying this knowledge to solving ongoing cases. Season 1 is set in 1977 to 1980, in the early days of criminal psychology and criminal profiling at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Notorious serial killer Edmund Kemper, played by Cameron Britton, has a recurring role in this season as he assists Ford and Tench in understanding how a serial killer's mind works. Season 2, set in 1980 through 1981, and covers the Atlanta murders of 1979 to 81. This is based on the real case of Wayne Williams, who was charged for the murder of 2 adult men, but was never found guilty of killing at least 28 children and adolescents. I really enjoyed both series of this compelling drama. Filmed in a docudrama style, we get a sense of how difficult it was to set up this department of the FBI, and all the red tape and male-dominated bureaucracy they had to endure for what is now a regular feature and well-respected arm of the agency. Also, it led to my personal favourite show, Criminal Minds, being conceived and broadcast. So thank you, FBI. Well acted and strong performances by all the major characters, and based on true life stories with just a hint of artistic license, makes for an outstanding drama series and another feather in the bow for Netflix, who are now producing some great dramas and shows. Mindhunter is well worth a watch if you can stomach the behaviour of serial killers and the painstaking hard work that the agents have to go through to make a conviction. Thumbs up from me on this show. At number 2 is the 8th and final season of the fantasy drama television series Game of Thrones, produced by HBO. Unlike the first 6 seasons, which consisted of 10 episodes each, and the 7th season, which consisted of 7 episodes, the 8th season consists of only 6 episodes. The final season depicts the culmination of the series' 2 primary conflicts, the Great War against the Army of the Dead and the last war for control of the Iron Throne. The first half of the season involves many of the main characters converging at Winterfell with their armies in an effort to repel the Night King and his army of White Walkers and Whites. The second half of the season resumes the war for the throne as Daenerys Targaryen assaults King's Landing in an attempt to unseat Cersei Lannister as the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. Well, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, all I can say is, where have you been this past decade? It warrants the title of most watched and talked about TV show ever made, and has been viewed globally all over the planet, and seems to be most people's favourite show. Having said all that, did feel the 8th season was a bit of a letdown personally. I was hoping to go out with a bang and stupendous ending, but felt more of a damp squib. Then again, as with most TV shows or movies with a basic premise of good versus evil, we kind of know what's in store. Nevertheless, still beautifully filmed and fantastic locations must have helped the Northern Irish economy. Well, hope it has. And with great special effects and use of CGI, still a visually dramatic and entertaining show. A massive cast of many characters seem to have had a great time making the show, and becoming household names will benefit their careers. I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones will stand the test of time as a show for generations to come, as a must-see series in the future. So, on to the number 1 spot on this show, and this goes to Chernobyl. It's a 2019 historical drama television miniseries produced by HBO in association with Sky UK. Created and written by Craig Mazin and directed by Johan Rennick, the series revolves around the Chernobyl nuclear disaster of April 1986 and the unprecedented cleanup efforts that followed. Features an ensemble cast led by Jared Harris, Stellan Skarsgård and Emily Watson. Chernobyl dramatizes the story of the April 1986 nuclear plant disaster, which occurred in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, Soviet Union, telling the stories of the people who caused the disaster and those who responded to it. The series depicts some of the lesser-known stories of the disaster, including the efforts of the firefighters who were the first responders on the scene, volunteers and teams of miners tasked with digging a critical tunnel under reactor 4. It is often commented that true stories make the best and most compelling dramas, and this is no exception. With the odd hint of artistic license according to research and contrasting opinions from the US and Western world, as opposed to the Russian view of events, and comments on the show, we are still left with a very powerful and compelling drama. And the reality is that no war is good, let alone the possibility of a nuclear war. We also see the depths and levels that us humans will go to help or deny given circumstances and situations. What we do know is that this happened, and within many of our lifetime. As a drama, it's superb, with great writing, character development and terrific acting from an excellent ensemble cast. Visually stunning and great cinematography brings the harrowing story to life on the screen, and an excellent musical score only heightens the drama as we watch the series unfold. For those of you who've seen Chernobyl, hope you enjoyed it as much as me. And for those who haven't, I thoroughly recommend watching this excellent multi-award winning TV series. Okay, well that just about wraps it up for me this week, and hope you enjoyed looking back at a few of my favourite shows of the past year. There's many others that could have been selected, but we'll leave that for another time. So, with thanks to the BBC, Sky and particularly Netflix for making some great shows, and Google and Wikipedia for general reference and research, I look forward to seeing what will be appearing on our screens now that we've reached 2020. So, happy viewing and see you next time.
Coming soon to YouTube, Amazon, Android, Apple and Roku. DRagonFLIX is a new breed of streaming service for the movie watcher that is free to the public. DRagonFLIX brings you a new concept in movie watching on the small screen exclusively through YouTube, Amazon, Android, Apple and Roku, containing some of the world's most interesting films by cinema's biggest talent, which will be shown and added to on a monthly basis. DRagonFLIX is a new type of streaming service working mainly in the micro-budget arena for the VOD market, whose films are exclusively released through YouTube, Amazon, Android, Apple and Roku. Here on YouTube we will be discussing all things film and TV, from Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, the MCU, Marvel and Disney. DRagonFLIX are also proud to present an exclusive horror show hosted by B-movie legend Linnea Quigley. As a subscriber to YouTube you will be able to watch classic movies and learn from the various tutorials and equipment reviews that will be uploaded each week. DRagonFLIX will be featuring documentaries, feature films and series exclusively made for DRagonFLIX, all available to the public completely free. So if you are a movie fan of any genre, be it horror, thriller, dramas, science fiction, and fantasy, or you like to watch documentaries on the movie industry, DRagonFLIX is for you. DRagonFLIX is coming soon to YouTube, Amazon, Android, Apple and Roku, and it's absolutely free. Watch this page for further details.